Studies have shown that the number of children growing up in childcare institutions in Kenya has been growing ever since the country's post-independence years. Due to this, there have been measures to ensure that children are being brought up in family setups rather than childcare institutions. Being amongst the 47 counties of Kenya, Meru is not an exception. The county has got a number of children's homes, amongst them being the Maria Zaneli Child Care Institution. With the intention of ensuring that children are reintegrated back to their families, AOSK Catholic Care for Children in Kenya program partners with most of the child care institutions across the country to ensure that this process is a success. Amongst these institutions is Maria Zaneli Children's Home. On 31st of August the year 2021, AOSK-CCCK program makes a visit to Maria Zaneli Children's Home to see how care reforms are being implemented by Catholic sisters under the AOSK-CCCK program. Sister Benedette Mutheu starts by giving us an overview of Maria Zaneli Children's Home together with what the home does.
Okay, I'm Sister Benedette Mutheu. I reside here at Mother Maria Zaneli Children's Home, which is owned by Little Sisters of St. Teresa of the Child Jesus. We have the apostorates and especially in care, taking care of the vulnerable children, the abandoned, those who are maternal orphans, and other issues which make the children more vulnerable to stay in the society. So we take care of babies from 9 months up to 3 years. Then from there we start the process of reintegration.
In our busy office, Sister Lucy Kavindu, who is in charge of Maria Zaneli Children's Home, is going on with her daily duties. Upon seeing us, she puts aside everything and gave us the attention. We are interested in knowing a little background about Maria Zaneli Children's Home.
This home began in 1970, but initially it didn't begin where we are now. It began at Kirwa Mission Hospital. By then it was only maternity cottage, because the first missionary sisters, when they came into the country, they saw there was a need that many mothers were delivering at their homes and the children were passing on. So they saw there was a need that they may begin a small home so that they may make sure the children whom their mothers have passed away, they will take care of them in the right manner.
Since that the institution's main aim is to ensure that children are reintegrated back to their families, Sister Lucy Kavindu explains to us the process on how children are reintegrated back to their families.
When the child attains the age of 2, now we begin the reintegration process, whereby the child goes home for 2 weeks with the relative, at least to familiarize with the environment, the home environment, to know the relative, and then the child comes back in. After that, the child also, after some few months, goes back again. Then eventually we take the child for good, permanently at home.
But during the process of reintegration, there are things that at times occur that make the situation memorable. Sister Lucy Kavindu re-encounters one of the cases she handled. Despite the case being complicated, there was a breakthrough at the end.
Like we had this case of this child who came in at the age of 3 months, and the relatives, they were feeling like it was kind of a burden for them to grow this child from their home, because it was kind of sickly, and they really felt it was a hard task for them. Then when we admitted the child in, we also talked to them, and we kept on encouraging them that because in giving a follow-up to their family and looking at their background, their financial status, we felt they were able people. It's only that they needed some empowerment and some encouragement from us. And that is what we kept on following, encouraging them that the home is the best place for the child to grow in. And because the child was committed here for the duration of 3 years, we stayed with the child here for 1 year, 4 months, And from there, now we began to see things were turning out well in a positive way. And then we went back to the DCO, to the court. We revoked that committal order, and we gave supporting information on how we had carried out the follow-up, and on how we have worked together with the family, and they have agreed that responsibility, and now we reintegrated that child back home with 1 year, 4 months instead of 3 years.
Grace Nkorote, who is a social worker at Maria Zaneli Children's Home, explained on how the training she has been given by the AOSK-CCCK program has helped her as a social worker.
Me as a social worker, I've been able to learn how to handle children from the word go, from the initial part of identifying that child, when that child is brought to the children's home, how to handle the child, how to handle the family members, and also even how to work with my fellow colleagues in taking care of these children. In case management, you are taught or you are trained on how to identify the needs of that child from the beginning, because each and every child has their own different needs. So you cannot generalize and say that every child, they have these specific needs. You have to identify, or we were trained on how to identify different or specific needs of each child and how to handle them until we close the case.
As a social worker, how does Grace feel now that the children are being reintegrated back to their families? Does this compromise her job in any way?
Professionally, this is a good move, because actually it's when the work has begun. Initially, when the children are in the children's home, the work is a bit easy, because you only care for the children, you follow up writing their cases in the children, or their personality, or whatever observation you make in the children's home. But now when they are going home, that's when now the work begins, because now you are able to know their families, you are able to know where they are coming from, you are able to know their culture, and you are able also to be able to connect and interact with their family members, and also help them, these family members, to be able to take care of their children. Actually now it's when the work begins.
When AOSK-CCCK came on board back then in the year 2018, Maria Zaneli had 35 children. Currently, 30 children have been reintegrated back to their families, and hopeful, the institution is looking forward to reintegrate the remaining 5 children to their families by the end of this year.
From 2018 up to date, we have reintegrated 30 children. And it has been good. When we do the follow-ups in the homes, we can see really the children, they have adapted in a home and they are doing well. And we can say that is a sustainable way of doing it. As you can see, the beds here are empty. The children have gone home to their relatives. And for now, we feel that we are not taking in more children because we want to support the children from their homes, and also the need of taking the children in the children home. After now talking to the relatives, explain to them the benefit of taking the care of the children in their families, and they have seen it is a positive idea. Now we are really empowering them and supporting them to take care of their own children. Whenever they need assistance from us, now we are supporting them from the home.
We are also given an assurance that the society around has been enlightened on taking care of their children rather than depending on child care institutions.
The society has been enlightened, and they have now seen the good of the child growing in the hands of the relatives and in the home environment, unlike earlier when they just felt that the best place for the child to grow in after the death of their parents is in the children's home. We have had some sessions, some workshop with the relatives and the parents and caregivers, and we have really enlightened them from the knowledge we have gotten from the AOSK. We have enlightened them on the best way of the child to grow in the kinship with the relative and all that, and now they are really they have accepted it, they have accepted their responsibility, and we are happy that there are also other people who are supporting us and they are taking it in a positive note.
But in every successful story, we have painful narrations behind each story. Sister Lucy Kavindu highlights on a number of challenges they have been facing during the reintegration process.
This process of reintegration, at times it has been of challenge to us, but we have kept moving on because these challenges they give us, they encourage us and they become a stepping stone for us to carry on, because at times we go to some of the homes where the relative they kind of reject that responsibility. They don't want to take that responsibility of taking care of their young ones, and at times we just go there. They are very rebellious, they don't want to see us. Others even they are armed, kind of having that strong rejection to us. And through this now we partnership with our stakeholders, like mainly the chief, and they have been of great help to us, because when we partner with the chief and the DCO, these relatives they kind of now get to understand their responsibility, and we reintegrate the children back home.
I'm very much happy to see that the goal that we are championing, to see that holistically children are taken good care of from their homes, where they are nurtured and they are loved, is happening. And this is very much evident with Mother Maria Zaneli Children Home, whom we've journeyed with them slowly from 2018, training them in various courses to be able to do reintegration, just to make sure that when they are doing admission, they are doing it in the right way, they are following up the cases, they visit families, and they make sure that they bond these children to be able to adopt well when they go back home, and to see which way do they do so that these children, when they are placed back to their families, they are sustainable placed. And as we've seen, empty beds. Sisters, when we knew them, they had 35 children. But as we speak right now, they have reintegrated back to the families 30 children, and only remaining 5, of which from what they have shared with us, at the end of the year, this year, December, they will have integrated the remaining 5 children.
From Maria Zaneli Children's Home, we decide to make a visit to 2 of the children who have been reintegrated back to their families. We start by making a visit to Trevor's home, one amongst many children that have been reintegrated back to their families.
Now we are at Trevor's home, the grandparents' home. We've come to ascertain to see how he was reintegrated and how he's faring on. So we are with the grandparents, and we can see Trevor very happy and he welcomed us joyfully. So let's hear from the grandparents what they can say about taking care of their own grandchild.